Hi, my name is Dinesh Goyal and I'm here from Property for Financial Freedom. We provide one-on-one mentorship to buy properties in the growth area with a high cash flow. We are also operating as a buyer agency and we are helping our clients to secure properties all over Australia. Today we are going to talk about Perth Market Update. In this video, we're going to talk about the infrastructure projects, Perth economy, and many more things. Before I start the video, this is a disclaimer that none of this is a financial advice. Information provided is general and in nature. I haven't considered your personal circumstances, so please seek advice from professionals before making any financial decision. Let's jump into the video straight away. Let's start with the geographical location of the Perth. On my screen now, you can see beautiful Australia. And if I search for the Perth here, as most of you already know, Perth is a capital city of Western Australia and only major city on the west coast of the country. All of the other major cities, most of the other major cities are sitting on the east coast, like Brisbane, and then we have down there Sydney, Melbourne, and Adelaide. Yeah, so that's why it has a significant importance for that region. So if I talk about Perth, Perth is a beautiful city sitting on the on the banks of the Swan River, and has this river has split it Perth into two parts, and most of the locals refer it as the north side of the river and south side of the river. If I talk about north side of the river, most of the Australia has expanded close to the ocean because Australians like to live close to the water. Yeah, it has expanded like a 40-45 kilometers toward the north of the city. And if you have the limit, we can see is the fringe suburb, very last or the fringe one on the top. We have Butler and Elkimos. A lot of big builders like Stockland and others are jumping into these suburbs, and they are building a lot of land here and building a lot of houses here. Yeah, if I go to the south side of the river, we can say like Rockingham Council is kind of a limit of the metropolitan Perth, and you have Secret Harbour and some Singleton is kind of the last suburbs of metropolitan Australia, metropolitan Perth. If I still go down a little bit, we have a Mandura. It's kind of a lifestyle living. A lot of people, prefer living here. They don't really travel to Perth for their work, but again, it's a fast rails. You can get into the city, I think, from here 50 minutes. But again, I don't really prefer buying in Mandura just because if I'm buying in a capital city, I want to stick in the metropolitan area. Yeah, so again, if there is like the how which area I don't really prefer is one good example is Beldavis here. Beldavis is again, it's a Rockingham Council. The reason I don't like is there's a lot of land coming into the area, and a lot of how my land package is getting built. When you have a lot of land and houses getting built, we know there's a lot of supply, and which can harm our short term growth. Another, like we can see is Perth is very close to other Asian countries. If you zoom out a little bit, you will see like it's not too far from these Indonesia and all other countries, which make it attractive Perth for tourists. Yeah, so yeah, again, it has very significant role in Australian market. So I'm gonna jump in next part of the video. Gonna jump into a little bit more economic side and what sort of infrastructure projects are coming into the Perth market, and why a lot of east coast investors and a lot of people are jumping and buying into the Perth market. Let's talk about the Perth economy in bit more details. Here on my screen, you can see economic profile of the city of Perth, and here you can see the Perth city only has generated a gross regional product of estimated $37 billion, which is around 11.72% of the state's GSP. Here you can also see it is around the population of the city is around 30,000 people, and it has around 200,000 local jobs. Here you can see a lot of people travel to the city for the job purposes. If I go more into details in the GRP, so here you can see it was doing really well since last 20 21 years. It was performing really good till 2014, and here we had some mining burst, and the price, like the economy of the Perth was going down. It was because of this reason, the real estate market was plunged that time as well and was not performing really well. But now it has started performing well again, and on the growth side now. Here, here you can see the city of Perth, comparative to the Western Australia, has gone down in 2014 and started performing well. Here we are talking about the Western Australia economy on the state level. Here we can see in year 2021, it has generated a gross state product of $361.8 billion, and it is around 17.5% of Australians' GDP, which is huge. And here you can see also the GSP per capita is $135,000, which is around 68% more than the Australian GDP per capita. So yeah, you can clearly see the GSP is doing really well in Western Australia. So here you on the graph you can see, yeah, again 2014 it was a plunge, was in a negative, then started performing well again. So if I go down here, it is more about the contribution by the industries, and here we can see again the mining is generating most of the income in the Western Australia economy. Yeah, it is again huge, $169 billion. But government is working on a lot of infrastructure projects and investing a lot of money in the other sectors as well, which has started performing really good. And it is not as vulnerable as 2014 when the mining burst and there was a plunge in kind of all the other industries there. So in real estate industry as well, 2014 was not really performing well, as discussed before. Here we have a change in economy, change in industry contribution. Here you can see the manufacturing is doing really good, has gone up around 8.7%. Then we have agriculture performing really well. Healthcare is started performing really well comparing to the last years. Retail trade, wholesale trade, and then we have a mining. So you can clearly see here that the other industries are doing really, really well as well. So this file is from the Western government of Western Australia. This is the Word file I was able to get from the government website. If you need that, I can flick that through. You can have it is very much in details, which gives you more idea about the Western Australia economy. Yeah, just so DM me and you can get it. Just let me know. I can just flick through to you. Yeah. Again, the next point I want to discuss about the median weekly earning uh, per city. Yeah. If you see here, it's like after Australian Capital Territory, Northern Territory, we have Western Australia weekly median earnings. Basically, it is better than New South Wales and Victoria. And why Perth is very lucrative at this stage is basically the earnings are sitting on the top, whereas the houses are still like you can buy a decent house in around 400 and 500 mark. If you buy for the investment properties, it gives you around 5.5 to 6% yield. I just want to show you want to give you a suburb here. If we talk about Leda, as we see in the previous graphs, the economy of the Perth Western Australia market was plunged during 2014. So that impact the real estate market as well. It was doing well. Then 2014 the decline starts, and it was going not going good till 2019. But since then it has grown really well. But from here in that graph, you can see the house prices are pretty much same as it was in 2013 or before. The 10 years basically there was no growth, and the future growth is generally not predicted by the previous growth, right? So we can see like the houses you can buy there are basically 10 years old prices, and it has all the liquidity indicators that the market is going to perform really well. Yeah. And rent wise, you can if you go rental yields, still you can get yields around 6.5%. We had recent purchase in that particular suburb, which is going to give us about 6% gross yield. So yeah, when the interest rates are increasing, where it is going like somewhere around 5.5% these days, having properties in these areas with that much yield, basically you can still buy positive geared or somewhere like a neutral geared properties. Yeah, so again, like a household income is on very high. The vacancy rate is sitting around 0%, that if you buy anything that can go on rent within a week or 2 weeks. Yeah, that is the beauty of the Perth, and only capital city which can give you these sort of numbers. Yeah, let's talk about the major projects happening in the Perth market, then we can wrap this one. Let's talk about some major projects happening in the Perth market. Very first one on my screen is a big defense project where Australian government is spending 4.3 billion dollars to build this dry dock at Australian Marine Complex. It is in Henderson, and I think it's close to the Rockingham Council here. So again, it's a huge investment from the government. It's creating 500 jobs to construct this dry dock, and after that 2000 jobs ongoing for this project. Yeah. Next one is again is a defense project. It's a naval base, Green Island there, called HMAS Drilling. The government is developing this campus. They're building accommodations and improving the docks there, spending a lot of money in here. The new accommodation facility, and they're improving it. Next one I'm talking about is the uh, transport project. It's a rail project, Metronet, and Australian government, again, Western Australia market government is spending a lot of money to build this rail infrastructure throughout the Perth city. They are expanding lines, improving the connectivity, and trying to develop the areas for new areas for the housing, for the living purposes, for the job purposes, and all. And there are a lot of big small projects in that program, which are some of them already completed, and some of them are already going under the construction, and government is flowing a lot of money in those projects. Next one I want to talk about is the lithium project. As many of you might know already, that we have a very good lithium deposits in the Western Australia. Western Australia, we know, is very rich for the minerals. The lithium is the main product to manufacture batteries, and now a lot of investors putting their money to build these manufacturing facilities and building the batteries over there in the Western Australia market. So again, it's a huge lithium is the future, because a lot of uh, your cars and everything, they're gonna run in the on the batteries in the future, and lithium is going to be the main component in those markets. Yeah. So next one is again based on the it's a port project. Basically, government is committing some money to develop the Kavinana Council. Kavinana port. It's like going to be a container port, and government is spending a lot of money to develop that. uh, Again, the very last one, there are a lot of other projects happening, but just to keep this video short, this one is like a projects happening within the city. There are a lot of major projects happening to shape this beautiful city, to attract a lot of people from interstate or the overseas. Yeah. So there if you scroll down, you find a lot of good projects happening, which is making this Perth city very beautiful. Yeah, so these are all the projects. Again, these are very few. There is a long list of projects happening in the Perth market. That's why it is attracting people, and the housing market is performing really well. And looking in the future, it looks very bright for the Perth real estate market. So this is my Perth market update. As you can see, Perth is ticking most of the boxes for the investment purposes. And if you really want to stick with the capital city, you must have to look into Perth market for your next purchase. We are very actively buying in the Perth market, and I think in last 2 months we have closed around 5 6 deals. Which again, our target market is around 400 to $500,000, and most of these are 500 plus meter block sizes. Most of them are 422 configuration, and still it's like these properties are giving you around 6% yield. If you really want to know about the Perth market and how we can help you to buy in the Perth market, please reach out to me directly. Yeah, I would like to say in the end, happy investing and have a joyful time ahead. Thank you.